Monday morning on a walk in nature, there is a revolution happening right this second. And the revolution is called agentic AI. This is essentially AI that goes beyond just chatting with it into AI that can accomplish tasks for you. I'll admit, it's a little bit of a learning curve, but now that it's set up on my computer, game changer. If you are an online coach, a course creator, or just a practitioner that has tons of sessions sitting on a hard drive or Google Drive somewhere, this is going to be extremely relevant to you, so listen up. Today, we are going to level up your way of thinking about AI and how you use it on a day-to-day basis. And in order to do this, we gotta go back to the beginning, when ChatGPT first hit the scene. Instead of having to go to Google and search to find very specific answers for your use case, you could ask one simple question and with seconds have a specific answer for you. But that was merely level one. Now, while ChatGPT was first to the scene, there have been others that have come out since. The three major players are OpenAI, which has ChatGPT, Anthropic, which has Claude, and Google, which has Gemini. And this is the first level of the services that they offer. But let's go back to using ChatGPT as a Google search engine. A lot of people might be stuck there. That might be how you've exclusively used it, if you've even touched it at all. The next use case of these different tools was to level up the amount of knowledge that you were giving your AI. When working with AI in this way, you often were using what we called GPTs. There was also projects within Claude, as well as gyms within Gemini. If this is over your head, stick with me, because in an ideal world, you're just gonna skip all this. The issue with working with it at this level is that it hit a certain capacity where it wasn't able to fully ingest the amount of context that you gave it. So if you're anything like me, you kind of got to a point where you were a little frustrated at the experience because you saw the capabilities, but it wasn't quite working in the way that it promised it would. But that has now massively changed. Let's go back to the three major players. Underneath the AI that you are currently aware of or just discovered, there is a next level. For OpenAI, there's OpenClaw. For Anthropic, there's Claude Code. For Google, there is Gemini CLI. Now, what are those? If you think about the first layer of AI as being able to talk to an assistant, you can think about this next layer as having an assistant that can do things for you. What you are doing is you are no longer interfacing with these models on your web browser, you're actually working with them on your computer level. And because it's at the computer level, it's going to have access to all files on your computer, including being able to execute on your behalf. And the best part is it's merely a talking platform, just like we are used to having on these other tools, but it can take things to the next level by actually coding itself and then translating what it's doing into everyday language. Which, let's be real, I definitely need because I can't read any code. One very simple use case is going into the chat and saying, hey, I need a clear space on my computer. And it looks at everything on your computer and decides what is the lowest hanging fruit to be able to clear space. I was able to clear 333 gigs off my computer by doing this. Now, working with files on your computer is great and all, but the real power comes when you're able to connect these different platforms to various tools that you use within your business. It no longer needs to be told who you are and what you do. Instead, it can actually look at everything across the board and get real context from real conversations that you're having with clients in real time. So instead of having to come up with content ideas just from this little noggin of yours, you can actually say, hey, review all of the calls that I did last year and come up with X number of content ideas that are speaking to my specific audience and pull exact words that I used in those calls in order to create that content. Now you might be thinking, how is that different than actually chatting with AI? I'm just giving it more context. Trust me, that alone is already valuable. That's just the beginning. As you begin to work with your different system, what you're going to do is you'll complete different tasks within your business. And once you have, you can then tell it to look at what the processes that you actually walked through and create what you call a skill. For example, one of the use cases that I have done within my own business as a documentary filmmaker, the problem that I've faced is that I can't pass off footage to an editor because he doesn't fully understand the content of that footage. I need to be able to give him guidance on that. In order to do that, it takes me watching an 1.5 hour long interview, finding the story within it, creating what we call a paper edit, which is a breakdown of what the story is that I want it to tell. And that can take a very long time to do, to the point where it's almost easier to just do it in the edit to begin with. Well, I took this to AI. It was able to take that 1.5 hour transcript and through the process of us working together, create that paper edit. From there, I had the question, well, if it has the raw footage of that file and it has the paper edit, could it just edit this for me? And through a series of conversations, it did. Was it perfect? No. I am still iterating on this process. But once you get through and find a solution for the unique use case that you are going to use, you can then say, hey, can you then turn around and create what we call a skill? A skill is a breakdown of exact steps that we took in order to get that output that it can now use on an ongoing basis for any time that you need to repeat that process. And you can run it with one simple command, /paper edit. Now, if you're someone that actually understands how hard it can be to find a story amidst an interview, you would be mind blown by that process. The point though here is that you are going to find very specific use cases within your business that are going to be mind-blowing for you, but you gotta find those. Now I wanna pause here for a second and really make sure that you're tracking with me. I know I'm throwing a lot of information your way. If you're finding value in this video, please be sure to click like. And while you're at it, go ahead and share this with a friend. So far, what we've discussed, we're going from these web-based chatting platforms to an AI that is actually living on your computer and can access files on your computer as well as tools. You are working with it to discover what it can actually do. And when you do, you then create what we call a skill. A skill is that set of instructions that walks through a step-by-step process that is unique to whatever it is that you are wanting to automate. But believe it or not, it does not stop there. The reason it is called agentic AI is because you can actually create agents that are going to use these skills to automate processes on your behalf that can happen while you sleep and or while sitting at your computer and running one simple command. This is the true game changer, and this is what ultimately is going to change everything that we know as it exists in the world today. I really don't think that's an overstatement. So just to leave you on a one action note that you could take this week and then follow the channel for future videos on how to really get this up and running in your business, the first action step that you can take is to go to whatever AI tool you already talk to. You can just tell your AI, hey, based on everything that you know about me, I want you to create a series of OS documents, operating system documents, that I can use within Claude Code, because that's the one I'm going to be diving into with you guys, to provide a context about who I am and have it walk you through the process of creating those documents. The next thing that you want to do is to really look at where all of the data within your business lives. Now, this is going to vary based on what kind of business that you have. If it's a coaching business, you have done tons of calls with clients throughout the years. What courses have you created? What presentations have you done? What speeches have you given? Start to kind of collect all of these things into one folder on your computer as best you can. And if you have a certain filing system that you don't want to mess up, for example, for me, I've always filed all client calls underneath a client packages folder, broken down by the year and the name of that client. I didn't want to mess up that system. Leave it where it is for right now. And then later, once you get into Claude Code, you'll be able to ask it how it can extract that data and consolidate it into one place. So with that, you've got everything you need. You're caught up on the world of AI, the revolution that is happening right now, and you have your next action steps. In next week's video, I'm going to break down how to actually get this up and running on your computer. So if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe. And since you're here, you clearly got value out of this video, so go ahead and share your comments in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.